topic will be quantifiable evidence, tangible stuff, and proof. What does that mean, and how do we define reality, and how do we bring that in? So here's a download that I received. A lot of people talk about downloads, and I think if you don't have a download that has any practical use in science, it doesn't bring it forth any progress, what's the use of that download? What's the use of the book that you study, or the mythological creatures, or the deities, and all of that stuff in that realm? What does that mean if it's away from the body, and if it doesn't include fact? We want to deal with fact. So now I'm saying this to you. Listen to my words carefully. I choose my words very precise. I do not repeat myself. And there's a reason for me giving you that information. I'm not guaranteeing you anything. Just listen to the protocol, okay? So right now, let's say, hypothetically speaking, unreal, not unrealistic, imagined possibilities of possible moments in time. And what I got from this, okay? So, let's imagine that we used to be a one brain, okay? That synaptically we used to be a supercomputer, which we still are, you know, that had connector pods. I based that on 7. There are millions of connections. I just make that the base connections. This is who we used to be. Let's say it goes back further than the Bhagavad Gita, which is a very powerful book, and I learned a lot from it. And it shows me even the dimensionality of existence of where we are has been documented for a very, very long time. Very powerful and very impressive. But I allow myself the possibility, when in dream state, without any substance, just me being here, the way I am, seeing that this got lost. Our brain is like how Earth was. This was, you know, what we call Eden. Okay? This the oneness that we seek. We were one being. So what happened was a soliton. You have to Google what a soliton, what that means. Something happened in history, whether it was decided by the source or decided by us to make the experience, that brought forth this. Looks familiar? We divided, or something, divided our brain into 2 hemispheres. So I'm standing like this, left, right, okay? So understand, left hemisphere, okay? Right hemisphere. And I bring a little detail in that has to do with reality, even though I'm imagining this, you know. Some want to call me a dreamer. I allow myself to dream because in dreams I find solutions. So this is the left hemisphere, this is the right hemisphere. So the connections that we had between the left and the right kind of got severed through this here. Let's say that this realm here between the 2 hemispheres is 4D. Okay? Let's say left hemisphere, you know, follow me in this one. This is 3D. Jumping in dimensions. This is 3D. Okay? And let's say where everybody says where the voices come from, and the angels, and the gnomes, and the trolls, and the intergalactic beings, and all of that stuff. And I'm talking about the true beings. They are all positive here. There's no negativity in this realm here. So this is 5D. This is the idea. This is the download that I received. I mean, this is what I saw in dreams being explained to me while I'm sitting in this crystalline chamber with a monitor. It might be the way of my conscious to interpret the way I want to fix myself. It's okay. I like the image. I'm a space cadet. I'm a space commander, not a delusional paratrooper. I play with that. It's like, let's say, if the kid plays with the Lego space tech, you don't call the kid delusional. It wants to experience what that is to play with a space. The other kid plays with a farmer, same thing. What archetype you pick, what works for you. So, okay, left hemisphere, logic mind, rational, reason, okay? Not emotion. This is the mental hemisphere. The mental hemispheres do not go all across the board here. Well, that's proven by science. For those who want to Google that, check a video called the 6 mental hemispheres and see the complexity of what they actually produce and how that network works. When that network is established efficiently. So I'm bringing a little bit of reality into what I imagine, okay? Imagine, so I say, take it lightly. If it doesn't work for you, dismiss it. So, my theory or my thesis of what's to come is in 2012, knowledge was revealed, the downloads are running. When you sit in the sun, you're receiving them according to your connector pods. How are you connecting? So now imagine, and I will read about this in another video, there's been a manipulation going on in our DNA that a Professor Dr. Hayflick has found out, and you can Wikipedia that if you don't believe. I think in the 70s the dude got a Nobel Prize, and we don't even know. It baffles me that we don't even know this. The Hayflick switch says that we have genetic limiters in our DNA, meaning certain cell growth is being stopped at a certain cell count at a certain age, such as enzymic productions. All of these things that we need at a certain age, why do they stop? Because it's an inserted program in your DNA to activate that, because you're a slave race and we're coming out of that. So it's called the Hayflick switch. It goes even deeper. It even says that the actual way women received their period was not monthly. It was every 3 to 6 years. Life was precious and holy when it came in. So this moon cycle has basically women systematically, by slave trade programming, out of whack every month. Emotionally open, instabilities, mineral deficiencies, all of that stuff, and they have to drop and come back and go to work and do the work. So basically, multiply, 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 overpopulate, because back then slaves were rare and were needed, and we're still running these programs. And my idea with this is the solution to get out of our programming, understand who we are, understand the manipulation, which physically can be proven. So, before I explain how this connection works here, I had a video about nanobacteria, which I'll urge you to watch, that talks about that if you have the money and the time, and it's not that expensive. Those who think that are clear, those who disagree with me, and if you have that, go to a doctor, have your feces checked for nanobacteria, and tell them to check for the following bacteria that I mentioned in my nanobacteria video. And if they find something, I rest my case, and the non-believer has to basically simply shut up, because it's physical fact. Physical reality will defy everything that you believe that is not in truth, that is mythological. And I'm here to bring facts to the body that actually activate you and bring you into unison. So let's say your 7 chakras are the 7 energy and meridian points where, you know, electromagnetically it can be measured with like your Gaussian field reader, a magnetoscope. The heart's magnetic frequency is, and note this, Greg Braden has stated that also, 5,000 times stronger than that of the brain, which can be measured in MRI. This is all physical data. This is not some crap. So here I come to my thesis. Hypothetically speaking, let's say you had connector pots, 7, okay? I base it on 7 because I want to simplify. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. 1, 2, 3. So you were connected in this field here. So let me widen this gap here. 4D. This is your lock, okay? The locks, what's embedded in you and what's dormant and also ultimately connected to the junk DNA is in your lock. The keys that we have, you have to understand you're functioning like right now, like this. One is over here, one is over here, one is a little bit crippled over here, one is connected. You have a few insights, you have a little bit of psychic spark coming from the heavenly realm, and your mental overlay here, computer system, is trying to actually quantify and computize and try to understand what's coming from this side. Not easy because not all is connected. These connector pots are also not protected. This realm where your key has the potential energetically to connect with the lock, which is what you need. They found that psychedelic mushrooms actually do that. They have these key receptors and perceptives and resistors and network systems where you can see in the molecule structure that there is, I'm going to put it down here, you have a certain molecule and something is being produced in the brain, and there's a gap here. And in that gap, interestingly, the mushroom fits perfectly, forms an hexagonal structure, and continues the pattern. And that leads to actually what? Switching on the brain, turning on the brain, getting all the keys in their connector spots, getting all the keys in one off. So shit can misfire or mutate. And not only that, so you know how that works. Keep that in mind now, the connection. So your environment, this has also to do with my download, bombards you with satellite information. You're a human being. Interesting. Getting the glyphs here. You're a human being, okay? You have this body has its own, you can say, dimensional protection. You have aura, electromagnetically that can be proven. Kids can see it, and not only an aura, you have a certain temperature, a heat signature. If you use an infrared camera, you see the heat signature. So let's say the human is representative of, when you say higher self, why don't you say higher self? This higher self is an original blueprint that your body possesses that lays dormant, that's in your pineal gland. And that the pineal gland is not functioning properly, we know this. I don't need to explain that. Pineal gland has the purest water that can exist on the planet. That is filtered and is like the fountain of youth, the elixir of life, whatever that is. And in that pineal gland, you have a retina. What is a retina? A retina means in your eye you have a retina, a rainbow skin, which is built to do what? To receive light and translate the image that's coming in and compute that through the visual cortex. That's science, okay? And I'm not so superior because all I do is I'm the crazy nut job that allows himself to look at things in a playful way. I'm not Harvard and I'm not PhD. I'm just saying, okay, let's look at it. If the pineal gland that sits in your brain roughly here, the Egyptians show that as the Eye of Ra, okay? Or the seat of the soul. They knew. It's in the brain, in the anatomy, even in the temple structure, you always find that in the brain. So let's say this thing has a retina and it doesn't have a lens. And it's filled with super structured water. Science has proven that from dead bodies, when they take liquid out, it's kind of horrible. And they open the pineal gland. The water that's in there is super holy, actually, super structured. That is the ultimate structure where you actually want to be. I allow myself to call that structure the 9-dimensional crystalline structure, water, or Christ all in, which is 9-dimensional. Okay, that has to do with the 9th layer of the membrane of a cell. You look at a cell, you can count the layers. There are certain layers that you can count those. So I'm saying if the layers of the cell are the equivalent of the dimensions that we talk about, now we're making sense. Why? Because we're bringing it back to the temple of God, the holy vessel, the body. So if this thing has a retina, and when activated, people have visions, these visions do not come through your visual eyes. They're not translated to the regular visual cortex. They know this when they did DMT experiments with studies. Dr. Rick Strassman the book is called The Spirit Molecule, where they have checked 500 people in different rooms that were not in communication with each other. They all spoke to the same beings, the same race, the different races that they met, and they all have the same information that we're getting, that we're trying to heal this planet as best as we can according to the speed of our consciousness. That doesn't require you to go to any holy place. It requires you to go within. It requires you to go within and listen to your calling, and that's for every human being on earth. There's no difference. And it doesn't matter what book you study. It doesn't matter. You're here, that's what matters. So, I'm saying that the pineal gland, what the Indians call the third eye, that's why they place the bindi here, why they put the bindi here, is an eye. It's an eye that can receive hyperdimensional epigenetic cell structural information that we have accumulated traveling through the cosmos. So information from other planets, everything is in you. You brought that here. And don't ever think that you're an earthling because you're on Earth. Where's Earth? In the middle of space. You're an outer space being. Don't point the finger and try to find these ETs out there. Guess what? You're an ET in human form. Get with the program. Planet. Plan ET. You're a part of the bigger plan. But before I drift, let's go back to the brain. So we know the pineal gland is an eye that can receive, and it used to receive. So the problem for us is, first of all, our pineal gland is calcified. You watch a video called Decalcify the Pineal Gland, very powerful video by a girl, I don't know her name, Decalcify the Pineal Gland, or how to decalcify the pineal gland. So the human body is representative to what? A cell. So what does a cell do? Let's say the human body is a cell. So the conscious units that you have in your body, up to 5 trillion, have something what they call telomeres. Or telomeres. Correct me if I'm wrong there. These things are photonic antennas that come out of your cell like this with a little eye. And what they do is, these are like little radar machines. They check for photonic light. Okay? The cell itself represents the human body in its entirety, in its wholeness. The cell itself is a stargate. It has a little opening. So this is, the cell protects itself naturally by being this. So if this one here picks up photonic light, biophotons, which are important for life. If you don't have biophotons, your cells won't function, you won't fire, you're not living. You are light. You are enlightened as we speak, whether you believe it or not. So when these photons hit the telomere, it sends back information to the cell, to the gate, and then the antenna goes back in, right back into the cell. And it says the biophotonic level on the planet and your surrounding environment is okay, open up. Well, guess what your cell will do? Your cell opens up. And what does it do? It takes in light and absorbs light from the environment, and then it'll go back to basically its normal protective level. so the body can contain the light. And that's how you live. That's how sun gazing works. Whether you look into the sun or not, you get hit like that. So, all of this, when undisturbed, enabled you in the past, like certain gurus, to go into what? Avatar mode. But here's the corruption when we go into what happened in the past. Again, Nibiru is not coming back. Nibiru happened 3,600 years BC. That was documented in Sumerian tablets, which is actual fact, and translated. It's not coming back. Anybody thinking about Nibiru coming back and you're getting pickups? Wrong. That's not going to take place. So I'm going to give you a little hints here and there while I'm giving you my hypothetical story, okay? I'm not saying this is true. I'm just saying this is what I feel, this is what I saw, this is what I resonate with. Now imagine, go back to the brain. The veil of forgetfulness, and where you can't see the ships and you can't see hyperdimensions and you can't really look through it, your veil is within you. It's the split of the two hemispheres. Divide and conquer. Same old thing. Devil reverse lived. So life in reverse is evil. Evil, reverse it, is life. So there's a destructive force and there's a creative force. So I'm saying, let's imagine that the Anunnakians that influenced the genetic way of how humans came to this planet and had technological powers that superseded our conscious perception, played games as angels and demons and whatnot and influencers, create spiritual leaders, followers, and created a whole grand manipulation that we all base our books on, not really knowing that we're still running this old manipulation program. So I'm saying the fourth dimensional realm is the veil in us. The veil of Earth is the quarantine zone that we have created because we split our oneness. So now imagine, in order to be in oneness, what did I say? I want the keys that are within you, and I call it the 7 keys. Later on, I'll go to the multidimensional aspect, how I see it. Let's say that these keys need to be in connection with the lock. So meaning, right hemisphere needs to be in communion with the left hemisphere. Meaning, like God needs to communicate to Earth. Heaven is here, Earth is here. You know? Some people want to make that heaven and hell. I'm saying hell is something different. What if H, heaven and earth, is being held? And later on, it's just to get a wordplay and a gameplay, and I want to see who resonates or gets goosebumps. This is about resonance, not logic. This is about your connecting your right hemisphere to your left hemisphere. So let's say held was heaven and earth held. We were trapped. And throughout the ages, we called it hell. It doesn't exist. I'll tell you now why this is an illusion and why we brought that forth into existence. We are very powerful wizards. We can create realities. Okay? Let's go to programming. So if I am a super programmer and I need you as a slave race, and I know you're actually godly because I took some certain DNA patterns of mine, mixed that with you, with whatever I found on Earth incarnates, used a lot of ET matter to influence that. If you check the ancient scriptures in Egypt, Tohoth, the god of medicine, could do that. Osiris was resurrected, to check the story, who got slaughtered by Seth, who didn't want a godly heir, and Horus was born, and Horus, after Osiris was resurrected, Isis, Osiris, Horus, horoscope, you know, the hour, aura, it's all connected. And then the gods measured Horus if he's the rightful godly heir. I'm saying is these are ETs checking on the dude saying, do you have enough genetic matter to be actually us? You know? Basically that would say that Hercules could be Horus. These superpowers, all of this, why do you have these superpowers? Because you're half ET. and you're probably on a, like Nephilim sides, which is nothing bad. It's just a lot of confusion genetically that happened on Earth because we were dabbled with. So, back to the programming. So the four-dimensional realm is the gap between the two hemispheres, synaptically speaking. And your keys are basically, and locks are here. And what you need is you need an original blueprint of a hardwire program that brings the key to the lock. And actually, when you're in oneness, I'll bring that into one formation. You don't want no key lock separation anymore. You want this to be this. Left and right being connected. And not only connected, understand, also protected by membranes. What I'm saying here defies everything that you study. It defies everything that one wants because I'm bringing it back to the body. So, the problem that we're having is if you go to the fourth dimensional realm, which splits the two hemispheres, and you influence that with intelligent nanobacterial placement that you put directly where the corpus colostrum is, where the hemispheres meet, and you place them there. And these nanobacteria can produce protozoa, amoeba, candida, Lyme disease, trichinosis, threadworm, all types of diseases that nobody really looks for in the blood. You know, whoever goes to the doctor and has their blood checked by a doctor with a dark field microscope. How many? Less than 5% in the world, because nobody really looks for that. So let's say these things run you. So let's say demonic possession has nothing to do with the spiritual entity that runs you. Let's say demonic possession has to do with a nanobacterial collective that sits within you that mimics a character of an archetype that you studied in your subconscious based on a belief system. And it just runs the program, and you, I am, la la la, and you seem to be out of control because these bacteria are running you. How did that happen? How did I get into our system? That's what I saw in the vision. Is basically, we have all of these connections sitting here. This is the river Styx that you have to cross in order to ascend. You know, it's all connected. And I put the nanobacteria, let's say I'm an Anunnakian race, I need the slave race, I want you to age, I need you to multiply, I need women to have their cycles every week for all I care, I need them to produce, I need them to bring twins, triplets to the world because I need slaves and I need it in a short amount of time. So I mess with you because I have the technological power and I can. You know, anybody with technological power going to a primitive race, they can. We've seen that how our forefathers got slaughtered. The immigrants come in, technological power, not as in the real power, just I have guns, I have firewater, I have alcohol, I have drugs, I have tuberculosis infected blankets that I give Indians for the winter so they won't freeze to death, or everybody will basically be wiped out and nobody wants to talk about it, but it's part of history. It's been repeated, understand, it's radiogenesis been repeated over and over. And I want us to wake up and get out of this. So I put the nanobacteria in here. And let's say you would even disagree with the video and you would explode and you would hate this. Guess what? That might be the nanobacterial aspect of you, or of a collective that's running you, that needs to respond to me because I'm an antibody. And I'm saying this with emphasis because I want you to get in resonance with what I'm saying, because I want your mind to see once the truth is revealed, it doesn't require a belief system. I don't base that on Brahma. I don't base that on the Nag Hammadi papers, not on the Bhagavad Gita, not on the Bible, not on the Quran, not on the Torah. This is actual fact. Bringing that in. So let's say, if we would study in MRIs and look for nanobacteria, I guarantee you in the brain you will find it. And I guarantee you everybody on this planet has it. It's just a hunch. So these nanobacteria are little nanites. Those who watch Star Trek, you remember Star Trek. These nanites have certain program constructs of a blueprint that actually leads away from your original godly self. Side note, study the Hayflick switch by Dr. Hayflick, who said you have to wonder why is it that our cells, our human cells, have certain program constructs within the chromosomes embedded that trigger when your cells stop reproducing. And why is it that cancer is immortal? That all the diseases and growth things that our body can get, they don't have that Hayflick switch in their DNA, interestingly. They all can run forever. Incurable. What does that tell you? And that's actual fact. That's not a hypothesis. That's really, you can read about it. That means we're designed to die. We're designed to catch diseases, so we're more controllable, and we are susceptible to disease because we're designed that way. And it's even proven if that Hayflick switch is removed, you can't get sick anymore. At a certain light frequency, there's even evidence that nuclear radiation can't even be perceived by you, thus affecting you, because if you change your belief system, your cell structure won't even receive nuclear radiation. You will be healthy. There was a doctor, I think his name was Jim Wolf, who was in Russia, who treated, I spoke to him personally, kids from the Chernobyl disaster in hospitals that were basically dying, getting leukemia, all types of diseases. And here's the incredible thing that he told me. He said, nobody believes us, but I have an entire staff that has witnessed that. And he got fired over it. Just, we have to really, really use our brain where we are and how we're boycotting ourselves and stopping this development from healing the planet, which is being offered. The windows are open. All you have to do is stop resisting and let it happen. So he explained to me that he changed. He sat down with these kids and had a translator and said, can you imagine how it was before that meltdown in Chernobyl? Can you feel how that felt? And he trained this imagination for these kids, how that felt before that happened, before the drama happened, before they lost their homes, before they were diagnosed that they have radiation in their system. The radiation levels in those kids and these patients dropped. The doctors got all flustered in the hospital since he was an American. You know, they complained about him and they fired him. And the experiment was stopped and nobody talks about it. But if you find Mr. Vernon Wolf, if I have a link, I put that up. He can talk about it. He's a witness. Why not believe in that we can heal ourselves? Why do we have to boycott people that we don't get no trophies? We get no Nobel Prize here. It's really hard work. Like, we really want to get people to get better and heal and not hate and not say this, you know, everybody that, you know, like Jesus said, he is free of sin, throw the first stone. If I would say there's a platform, if you want to throw a stone and you want to tell the world who you are with your address and everything, get on the platform if you're a hater and throw that stone. Guess what? Nobody will go up there and admit that they actually want to throw the stone. They want to remain anonymous, which is a side story. Now, going back to this, which all works together. So these nanobacteria, they get into your circuitry. And that's also an important information for channels. If you're a channel and you're very open, that means you have very good connections here. But you still have the Anunnakian programming that will try, depending on how strong your willpower is. That has to do with your core. There's a light beam that goes through this here. That's the prana. That goes to your crown chakra, goes to your entire body. And it's, in most people, it's dim. That has to do with your certainty in the core and knowing who you are within yourself. It doesn't require any book, any verbalization, any action. It's just going within and go into non-existence. Like, what would you say if I didn't have a name, didn't have a video channel, didn't exist, wouldn't say the things that I wouldn't say, and I wouldn't actually be in your reality? Guess what? You have no memory systems to respond to me, to what I define as I. That's how we are based on memory and sometimes illusions and delusions, because it's easy, dependent on a God, they'll take care of it. You know, grandma says, you know, I put it in God's hands and grandma dies. Well, if I say, I allow myself to not question her choice, but I can say, could there be something where grandma does not have to die of cancer? Just allowing myself in the openness. Could there be something where you can be healed? So here's the deal. You got the nanobacteria influencing you. They can be sitting here. You know, let's say one of your connector keys has to do with the audible cortex, where all your audio goes. and all your memory is. Because in order to understand language, you have to memorize language, and you have memory banks. They are linked to your belief system. So let's say you have a certain group of bacteria that runs in there like spies, and they study your belief system, and then they give you, let's say, they give you a draconian being that's 50 foot tall, and you control it, and it calls themselves the highest knight, you know, and you believe it to be true. Guess what? You are completely run and under control of the fourth dimensional illusion astral projection of yourself, of the viral impact that is within you and your hardwired belief system that traps you in 4D. And why I'm saying this is because 4D gives you a lot of storyline, no solutions, no actions, nothing happens in the real world. Okay? So where my thesis comes in is like, let's say if we can increase the light level in the two hemispheres to a degree that you can actually see who moved into your house, that you can see all the tenants that are squatters that are not paying their rent. This is a metaphor for you to laugh about and think about. What would the landlord do? And that's called cleansing. We will say out, 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 out. You know? And not only that, we have to learn to establish our connections again. So that will take place in form of manifestation, miracles, and whatnot, and you have to get used to it. You know? So belief systems, cancer, all of that stuff is actual physical fact in people. So as long as somebody tells me, yeah, I got the crazy download, yeah, my higher self told me this and this and that, yeah, and well, and then some girl, I don't know, hospital X, 12 years old, dying of leukemia. What are you actually doing to heal her? What is your responsibility if you talk to somebody that has that? That's why we got to be very careful. Give them good feelings. And here's what I do not want to do. I do not want to give people fake hopes or hype feeling that they can smile and you can die smiling. No, I want people to live. I want physical facts. Now here comes my implementation for the future of what I feel where we can go as I continue with the bodies. And I'm already not running low on battery. So let's see how many more minutes I have, maybe 10 more minutes. Okay, we have telomeres, we have the higher cell, you know, and we got to study that ourselves, read for ourselves, repost that. I might do a video on the Hayward switch and just read from what's posted. So let's say, that's my theory with the Gammatron key. The Gammatron key came to me. And this is not a sales pitch. You don't really have to buy the key if you're not in resonance. Ultimately, you're the key, and if you find a piece of wood that works for you, get the piece of wood. That's all up to you. I'm just a scientist who says whatever you're in resonance, that's what you go with. Like Apple has running commercials. I'm not obligated to buy Apple, but yet I got a little Mac because I love my computer. Nobody made me. My choice. It's your freedom to make a divine choice. So here. What I did is I built a key that brings in actually electromagnetic frequency from the ground, which can be measured. It's made out of brass, and then I put 22 rings on the key. Because in the vision that I had, they showed me how the light body is actually being fixed. Okay? And that's what a lot of people do not look at. I allow myself to look at it and I play with it. And you will see by the fruits of my labor where this is going, where my progress is. I'm here, I have nothing to hide. I can't release what I don't have. I only talk about what I have. So this key is to unify body number 1, body number 2, and body number 3. So let's say, again, the brain hemispheres, right, left. This is the electric body. This is the magnetic body. This is the light body, or the etheric body. Okay, this is photonic. This is magnetic. This is electronic, okay? I got this from the theory of mind, body, and soul need to be one. Let's say we have soul, mind, and body. This is the elusive self, how you imagine yourself. This is not your true self. It's a lie. That comes from your logic mind and the bullshit artist we call the mind that thinks it knows. Because actually, we don't know actually squat. We don't know anything. We're allowed to stream, tap in, and tap out. This is where your body is. Split. Your two beings. Higher self over there on the ascended earth, lower self on earth here. You're 50. That's why you look for love in a partner. That's why we have twin flame energy, to understand the oneness in us and to have somebody reflect ourselves. We're 50-50. We're half. You know, that's why we're seeking love outside of ourselves instead of inside of ourselves, you know. This is about to forge a relationship with God. This is to understand God within and whatever you carry and the information. Imagine if your DNA code is 76 trillion years old, how much infinite data of light codes are in your DNA. This is crazy. This is crazy. So again, electric body, magnetic body, light body. So these bodies are out of whack. We're split. We're not one. Those who meditate try desperately to bring that body and this body. It's doing this. So you have a macabre for this one, a macabre for this one, and a macabre for this one. You know? Then you can count the connector spots. This is what? What is this? 6, 6, 6 is not the devil. Get the church programming out of your head. Church has in ancient times programmed that in you, that humans shall be cursed and you are the beast, but I say you're not, okay? When marriage contracts are signed, they say till death do us part. I ask myself, why doesn't it say so life unites us? Understand the spells and things and adhesive contracts that you sign when you sin and bind yourself to paper that actually does not represent the human soul. Think about that. So, the 666 makes 18, okay? Understand. 666, again, get the conspiracy out of your head. 666 means carbon-based life form. Look at the periodic table. 6, I'm not sure. Protons, photons, it's 666, you know? And that's us. That's all. It's all a molecule definition of a number code of who we are. That's all it is. So when you have 666, what do you have? You have 18. Interestingly, the legal age in Germany, once you're a person, is you're 18. 18 is what? 18 is 9. 9 stages to be born mentally, 9 stages to be born physically. 7 stages, the human body is ready to be prematurely born, not before or after. But 9 stages actually are needed to bring life to this planet, in human form. 9 is also angelic. That means 6 was 9, 9 was 6, yin and yang. These are all geometric patterns and symbols. These are not just number codes. This has to do with the connection to heaven. Okay? Cells. And you know, if you have certain, if your hair grows in a 6 formation, does that demonize you because you have 6 ether hair? Does it demonize you if you have 9 ether hair, which is receptive to, you know, when girls have curly hair and when it rains, what happens to the hair? It all goes staticky, it goes up, yeah, because the antennas pick up. There's electromagnetic reaction, which can be measured, which can be proven. So, let's get out of this conspiracy stuff, which I really don't like because it distracts us from actually finding what we need to find. So, my theory says is if I unify the 3 bodies, you know, and bring the 3 bodies and the 3 heads together, and I have light, magnetic, and electric working as one. You have a circuitry that actually makes sense. So what do you also have? You have 7 chakras for this body, 7 chakras for this body, 7 chakras for this body, you know, because this is actually not 6, it's 7 when it's centered, when it's harmonized. So understand the beast level and the God level. It's a millimeter off. So when you have 777, what do you have? You have 21. 21, again, Trinity. The Trinity tells you what? Triple fold being, come into one. So 777 is 21. I'm talking about 22 dimensions, 22 dimensionality. So if I put that together, it makes that 1. But in order to see that, you need that what? You need that 1 to observe that. That 1 is 22. It's 22. So now let's go further. It has to do with the download. There are no demons. There are no wicked forces, but the forces that mankind has created to control mankind. That's all it is. Heaven doesn't have that. That doesn't even work in that consciousness. So, let's say you have 1, 2, 3. So you have basically seven chakras, okay? Okay. 7 chakras. 3D, which is your earth, the elusive self. You have the split hemisphere, the 4-dimensional trap, the astral realm. It's just the realm of possibilities, nothing more. It's not real. And then you have 5D. Okay? And I don't want to be dogmatic. This is just, I'm not doing it, I'm just spitting how it comes in. So this is 5D. The observer is here, which would be chakra number 1 in 6D. What is the first chakra always for each realm? Which one is that? Exactly. The root chakra. And if you're not rooted like a tree, you can't stand in the wind of truth. And in order for you to have the rainbow bridge, you need all chakras and all color codes and DNA codes and Norman DNA aligned to be anchored in the 6th dimension. And that's when the magic actually begins. Miracles, instant manifestation, all that stuff. Yeah, there's been misuse. Yeah, there has been, we can call covert magic, what people call black magic, where people are not being transparent, but when you hear, everything is known. All your motives are seen, all your intent is seen. Everything that you created is known. That's why we have YouTube, that's why we have cameras to look into each other's lives to see actually what's going on. So, after all of this scientific data that I gave you, to see what's what, is I want you to clear your mind right now from everything that I've said. This was a moment in time, was a possibility. It can mean everything, it can mean nothing. You know, time will tell. So what I imagine is, if I can work with the air and work with the photons, okay, it's just an idea, a feeling. And if I can talk to your, what they say, the Christ body, what is this, if I can talk to your silica-based water body, okay? Water communication, quantum physics, and how does water communicate? How does the ocean of Earth communicate to other planets that have oceans? Can that be instant? Because water, for the Magi's, for the Druids, is the most susceptible substance on the planet. It receives, transforms, transmutes, filters. So if the water bodies resonate, I feel we have telepathy. I can't prove that. It's an idea, okay? I can only prove that people are in resonance with what I say or not. So I'm saying, if I combine certain forces and put them in a device, something similar to my key, I can heal the intracellular communication in your system, enables the system to heal itself. If I can put that into a device that can heal your body, that means I can influence matter, quantum physics. Okay? So let's say it's just little cryptic space information. Let's play a game. Okay? Let's say this is a car. This car is based on consumption. I haven't even tapped into free energy yet. He needs fuel to run. That is linked to how the human collective believes how that is. The human collective believes that is an absolute and unaltered and unchanged, unless some expert comes along and says, oh, I'm Sir Isaac Newton, or I'm Sir Isaac Newton, Schuten und Martin. Und dann, nämlich. Anyway, so we think that is fixed. So if I have a system here that works on a very high frequency, it's nothing to do with miracles or Jesus or holy names right now. Holistically speaking, it has to do with ultimately you. Very highly activated peace, and I'm changing the consumption in that thing. If I can influence matter, matter will influence the collective. And that's when all your belief systems crumble. And then the beliefs, then they have to restructure their brains and realize, oh shit, it's not an absolute, we gotta think different. So I'm changing the collective. I'm expanding it. That's the idea. And it requires energetic exchange on whatever level or however that works. Of course. All is one is all, as they say. That's one system. The second system would be, if I can do that to a riverbed that is energetically at a certain level where the pH level is just crap and the whole river is crap, and I'm applying a system and I make that system a little bit bigger, and I put it in the river and I'm healing the river, that will ultimately result in a truth that doesn't require your belief system anymore. Just what you observe. Again, hitting the collective, expanding the collective, and the belief system of an old paradigm has been erased. Next level, which is actually my dream. Again, I have no proof, I have no device, I have nothing here. If I have or when I have, it will be known. Let's say, and there's a reason why I talk that talk, and those who listen to my talk will see what the future will bring. See, I develop a plate where I store certain information according to my certainty and my core belief. That is, I believe, very strong. And let's say I have somebody that has or had cancer, and I put them on a bed. And I would say, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a miracle worker. Let's play this game for 2 months, and then you tell me your blood levels, physical data. Not only will I do that, I will take the energy of that plate, put it into a liquid, and give that liquid the same information of what I believe in my heart, from God, from the source, that I can heal that person without hands-on or Jesus or the fame, all that stuff. And you'll be attacked if that would happen, and people would have something to say, and blah blah blah, and this and this and this and this. All the nanobacteria will go rampant. That has to do with cognitive dissonance. So anyway, so I would have them drink a little something to get more in resonance with what actually coming from here, and they would heal. And I don't have a special name. I can be called any name on the planet. And that's why I look at Nikola Tesla, Wilhelm Reich, Einstein, people that were laughed at actually, and people that got the same stuff thrown at what I had experienced in my younger years when I had ideas. When you can bring a quantifiable evidence into existence that you can repeat, it will have an influence on what the belief system of that collective or that being is. That's connected to all these beings that have belief systems, that's connected to beings that have belief systems. And according to the emotional connection, just like Facebook, when you can bring something in the physical and tangible form with proof, it doesn't matter what religion you are. You know, you're changing something. And that's actually what I want to do. I want to change your belief system. I want you to leave yourself open for the possibility of the ultimate healing in ways that you can't imagine, because why? You haven't experienced that. You've never experienced that. You've never been in it. And I say also, let us not attack each other. Give the little ones a chance, you know. You respect the government, the police, and those who come with force to your home and threaten you, but you can't respect your own kind, your own people that are fighting actually for your good. And I don't want to lead people, and I don't want people to follow anything. It's just make up your own mind. Find your own inner master and walk away from this being master, saying, Ra gave me an idea that inspired me to do something, and maybe you're the genius that will find it and report to me and say, I found that. I found that. You know, I believe that we can find that. Time will tell. And again, I leave myself open for miracles that can take place, and they are shown in what? We call that progress. This progress is a very, very, very powerful progress, because it's not just, you know, you listen to some Tony Robbins motivational speech and you have progress in your life, or you buy some stocks on Wall Street, you do what's logical, and you work with systems that are already there. This is a system that is not really here yet. I say it's in the ether, it's in the right part of your brain, and you need to bring that back. And it's your responsibility to bring that back, not to hate on one another. Most of you are loving beings and support me, and I appreciate that very much. What we will do is we have the opportunity to turn our brain into a one brain again. And no more four-dimensional split where we have to find our way home, basically. Yeah, Jacob's ladder, that's right here. That little thingy is right here. And that's the download that I got, basically, that this needs to be fixed, and we need to look at where we had the hay flick switch that manipulated us and turned our immortal beings into dying creatures. And where cancer cells don't have a switch off, they actually run forever. You have to ask yourself, where does that come from? Is that by nature? Is that according to Darwin? It's just epigenetics, and nature has designed us this way? Why is it that when somebody genetically can remove that switch, your DNA remains unaltered? You don't age. It doesn't happen to you. And this guy who found that has won a Nobel Prize, and nobody talks about it. That shows us the level of our consciousness. Somebody can sit on the toilet and talk about that they sitting on the toilet and sing a song, and they have 100 million views. When I talk about things like this, I might have 2,000 views. That shows you the level of consciousness this earth is. Without judgment, what can we do energetically to change that? One thing, and that's how I'm going to close this, one example that I find beautiful that I've found is in Russia. And the Russians are pretty deep in metaphysical experiments and whatnot. They did reverse aging. They put older men in their 70s in metal boxes for 3 months, and they couldn't bring nothing with them. And what they did is they dressed them up how they were dressed 30 years ago, according to their timeline. They had magazines 30 years or go according to their timeline. And they were running TV shows or movies or ads or whatever they had. Everything was according to how it was for them 30 years ago. So they bombarded the brain with images that they remember when they were young. Well, guess what happened? Wrinkles disappeared, Alzheimer disappeared, hair got color again, eyesight returned. People weren't, like this anymore. They were vital, they got younger, they got fitter because the cell structure remembered where they used to be. Means they broke the program of the hay flick switch and rejuvenated people. Now imagine if we can break that program sequence, what will be possible if we get out of an absolute belief system where we think, yeah, people die, people have this, and that's where you go, people starve, this is it. Do not accept that as a truth in your life. Accept that you can make a change, and that change can make anything possible, And the last thing is that the Russians have built a pyramid 72-degree angle, not like the 51 degree. It has much more power, and it's rare to find anything online about it. And they built, I think, like a 60-70 foot tall pyramid in an area in Russia where they had correctional facilities and small towns surrounding that. So within, 15 years, many people of the correctional facility were released early for good behavior. Criminal activity went next to zero, and all the around towners and suburbians are positive, are in a happy state, they're healthy, they're living good, they're making good choices, and their consciousness has changed. So that means we can actually, like I said, influence matter with geometry, knowledge, material, crystals, anything we have on earth we have here to make anything we ever dream of possible. So with that, I say thank you for listening to the seminar, and leave yourself open for possibilities of things of creational thought that can free yourself and free your mind. And let's not forget the physical fact and physical data of who you are. When you cut yourself, you bleed. No belief system is going to change that. If you can heal yourself like the Wolverine, you can change your belief system, but you have to show it.